Hi, beautiful YouTube family. Lisa A. Romano here, the Breakthrough Life Coach, and today we're going to talk about the mind. And the reason I want to explore these ideas with you is because I think the more you expand your consciousness, the easier it will be for you to heal and stay true to your path. Okay, so primarily I discuss what it means to heal from a childhood that has been littered with emotional neglect. Now, just to reiterate, for those of you who are new to my channel, being emotionally neglected is abusive for many, many reasons. When you are emotionally neglected, you are being programmed dysfunctionally. The way to live a healthy life is through the spirit self. For those of you who are atheists and have issues with the word spirit, I'll say you're supposed to live through the true self, connected to your heart space. When you are emotionally neglected, you are disconnected from your heart space because the people in your experience ignore your feelings. They ignore that emotional body within you. And so that's abusive, because in order to really be who you were meant to be, who you incarnated to be, you have to be in touch with how you feel. So many things go corrupt because in order for you to be in touch with how you feel, you have to be able to accept how other people feel about the way you feel. And that's scary. That's very scary. When you're a codependent, you have been taught to fear what other people think about you. Now, I do think, and some of you agree with me, Costas, hello. Many of you agree with me, Emery, that out there, that religion, especially here in our Western society, we have been taught that God is out there somewhere. Our religions, and I was raised Catholic, so I can speak from that space. I also attended a Lutheran church. I went to a Pentecostal church. I've been to Bible study. I've been all over in search of that peace and contentment, that feeling of I am enough. And so I can speak with certain clarity. Oh, my dog's coming up to say hello. Say hello, Alice. Say hello. I can speak with certain, get down, girl. I can speak with certain certainty that when I say that I was taught and brainwashed to believe that I was a sinner, and I was the little girl. I remember being like a little girl in church, singing Kumbaya on an altar, and being terrified in my Catholic school uniform, walking towards this bloodied, life-size Jesus Christ hanging over the altar. And from the time I was a little girl, being told that Christ died for my sins, I immediately felt guilty, like, I don't even know you, dude. Like, why would you die for me? You know? And so what a lot of religions don't understand, or this is the thing, maybe they do, I'm just saying, maybe they do, that when you are brainwashing children to believe that they're sinners, the message is, I'm not good enough, that God is separate from me, and I need to prove myself worthy of Him. So we incarnate behind the 8 ball. Now, no good. And then if you're born to parents who aren't evolved, then they get a couple of pieces of scripture, like spare the rod. You're supposed to beat your children. In other words, they take a couple of pieces of scripture, they hang on to that, they attach to that, that becomes their identity, and that gives them in their head the right to treat us the way they want to. So, take honor thy mother and father. You take someone who isn't very evolved and you give them scripture, you've unleashed hell on earth. Oh my God. I mean, I was married to a man who actually believed he owned my body. I mean, it took a little bit of scripture, twisted it to fit his perception, and ran with it. Caused a lot of problems. So we have to understand, in my opinion, the Bible is a great psychology book. I've read it from front to back, and I still reference it. not because of some attachment to some religion or dogma, but because when I'm looking for true wisdom, most oftentimes I find it. Walking by faith and not by sight. This is what the life that I live now. Oh my God, I walked by faith. I mean, I remember, when I was writing in my journals, my law of attraction journals and my intention journals and my walking by faith journals, I was drawing pictures of water scenes and having a house on the water. Dude, that's where I live right now. It's like freaking cool. I drew pictures of boats because I wanted to own a boat. I've owned a boat, a really big boat, and just amazing. See this ring on my finger? Like, I tore out a picture of this beautiful diamond ring before I even knew my husband existed. When I was a single mom with 3 kids, just, wow, that's a pretty ring. I'll stick that in my journal. Hey, you never know. You got to dream it. You got to dream it. If you don't dream it, you can never have it. If you don't not dreaming it, you're never going to have it. So I figured that out real quick. So certainly, being born into families that, people are stuck to dogma, religion and whatnot, that makes us feel very disconnected and separate. And so that doesn't help us live through the space that we need to live through, which is the emotional space. So when we have parents who ignore their feelings and they're very reactive, which means that they're reacting to their mind. So whatever mom and dad experience, that's their data. So their mind is just recycling data. My parents are both adult children of alcoholics, live with cockroaches and mice, and my mother used to have to go drag my grandmother off the bar stool. My grandfathers were out carousing. It's just a mess. My maternal grandmother committed suicide. I mean, this was my dad's experience at 4 years old. That's his data. These two people come together, law of attraction, like attracting like. One adult child of an alcoholic, more narcissist than the other, attracts a completely passive codependent, who, when my father wasn't around, mom, was a reactive or an active codependent. Very interesting. Oh, Lord. But it all makes sense. So here we are, those of us who are on this path to enlightenment, and we're waking up, and we're embracing this idea that we were emotionally neglected, and therefore, because we were emotionally neglected, we have this dysfunctional data. Now, how the hell do we heal? When I started waking up to the idea that I was codependent, and I began to realize, like, codependent meant being codependent. I wasn't just codependent in my marriage. I was codependent with my parents, with my sister, with my brother, with my animals, with my children, with my friends, with the PTA. I was with the principal at my kid's school, the kindergarten teacher. Please like me, please like me. Do you like my brownies? Ha ha ha, these are my brownies. They're better than her brownies, right? Like my kid, I was just codependent. So, I caution all my clients, my one-to-ones, because this is tough work. If you think you're going to show up for a coaching session once a week and talk some stuff out and you're going to heal, not going to happen. If you think you're going to read a book or another book and it's just going to happen, that's an illusion. Because what's wrong is how we attach to the data that's in our head and we believe it's real. So what do I mean by that? If you're from the Western culture, then you've been taught that God is outside of you, God's not within you. That's a problem, okay? So if you've been born to people who believe that, that's a problem, because now we have this hierarchy of your worth. Meanwhile, your worth is just a given. You didn't have to prove anything to anybody, So now, let's say you're born to these dysfunctional people who are wounded. One's a narcissist, one's a codependent. That's generally how it goes. Or one is an active codependent versus a passive codependent, whatever. You're born to these people like I was. You are being downloaded with their crap, which becomes your mind. Now, when you're a little baby, and this is where, I coach a couple of psychologists, and we've had this back and forth where I'll say, I've had a psychologist say to me, but this is what I feel, and this is real. Absolutely. And your feelings are coming from the way you think. Absolutely. Don't stop there, dear ones. Don't stop there. Why do you think the way you think? You walk into a psychologist's office or psychiatrist's office and you say, this is how I'm feeling. And the psychiatrist then, or psychologist then, is really trying to determine what thoughts are creating that feeling. And most of the times, that's where I'm not saying all the time. There are some great therapists out there. There are some great psychologists and psychiatrists out there. I've spoken to them personally, so I know that they exist. And I actually had one. Awesome. But there are a lot of therapists and alike out there that aren't helping their clients understand that that's not where the story ends. Oh my God, that doesn't even scratch the surface of the story. A, you're enough. B, all that you need to live a happy life is within you. Your feelings are your guide. That's your Jiminy Cricket. Your feelings are your guide. How you feel. So, that don't feel good? I'm not going to go there. That feels good? Oh, I like that. Oh, I don't want to be a secretary. I would love to, raise Gouldian finches. Okay, I would love to do that. Okay, start getting the direction of that. Go walk in the direction of it. Get in the vicinity. Read a book about Gouldian finches. Go talk to somebody who breeds Gouldian finches. Get a bird cage and get a couple of Gouldian finches, and then get a nest, and then learn how to breed them. And then when they breed, take care of them. Then separate them, and then color match them. That's how somebody who has learned to honor what they feel thinks. When, let's say you were born to two dysfunctional people, as I was, okay? My whole life since I'm 7 years old, man, I want to be a writer. And here, like I write in my book, The Road Back to Me, when I was 17, my dad says, what do you want to be with your life? What do you want to do? You're going to graduate college soon? And I said, I want to be a writer. And he said, no, you don't. Writers don't make any money. What are you going to write about? Go to college to be a nurse. People always die. I mean, that was my father's, those were his pearls of wisdom. Are you kidding me? Okay, there goes my dream of being a writer. Got to please daddy. Got to get daddy's validation because I was a codependent little girl that needed daddy's validation. Everybody needs their parents' validation. And so, not wanting to rock the boat, believing that my parents, because they came first, knew better than me. How silly was I, because I knew better than them. Because, in this life, we're taught, and my parents definitely taught me, life's supposed to be hard. No, it's not. If what you're doing is hard, then whatever you're doing is wrong. You should be doing something that comes easy for you, that feels good when you go to work. You should be doing things that make you happy. And I'm not saying quit your day job. I'm just saying start forking in the direction, okay? Pay your bills, but in your spare time, I wrote my book at 2:30 in the morning. No excuses. Start forking in the direction of what makes you feel good. So, if it's hard, you're doing something wrong because you're out of alignment with what's innate for you. But of course, those of us who come from codependent homes, our wiring is all screwed up. We're trying to dissect the way we think, and we can't do that. Money doesn't grow on trees. Yes, it does. Money comes from trees. Hello! But how many of us just walk around, money doesn't grow on trees, money doesn't grow on trees, money doesn't, life is supposed to be hard, life is hard, it's hard to find somebody who loves you, it's hard. If you keep telling yourself life is hard, your brain cannot argue with you. Cognitive dissonance is real. If there is a belief in your brain, in your subconscious mind that says life's supposed to be hard, dear one, you cannot have an easy life. Your brain flags easy life as something wrong. Something wrong. So when you meet somebody who has an easy life, your brain will go, bitch. You won't understand that, no, she figured it out. She's walking in sunshine. She's figured it out. She's happy. She's letting her heart be her guide. Her parents are pissed off because she figured it out. That's what happens when you're drinking the Kool-Aid, as I like to say. and you're under the illusion of codependency, and you believe all this crap that most people here in the West believe, is that life's supposed to be hard, money doesn't grow on trees, you're supposed to prove yourself worthy, you have to ask permission to feel your feelings, and not supposed to make other people angry. It's nonsense. You're supposed to follow your divine light. So, the purpose of this video is really to help you understand how the mind works. And again, I wanted to take about 15 minutes and preface certain ideas so that when I begin to talk about what you need to do, because not a whole lot of people are telling us how to heal. Like, they'll tell us what's wrong with us and what's wrong with him or her, but not a lot of people are telling us how to heal. So that's what I want to do. I want to bridge the gaps and connect the dots for you guys, because it seems to work in my life, so give it a shot. Okay, so when I say this, a lot of people are going to go, oh God, that sounds so hard, but just bear with me. So what we have to begin understanding is that what's wrong is the way we process information. The mind is going to adhere to whatever belief system you identify with, whatever value you identify with, and the mind will not argue with you. So if you were taught as a little child that you were nothing, and that life was hard, and that you needed to be afraid of telling your truth, and that your job was to make everybody else happy instead of yourself, then that's a rooted belief system. And what will happen is an unconscious mind, an unawakened mind, will attach to that belief. And every action and every word spoken and every thought thunk in your brain, in your mental field, will be rooted in that dysfunctional idea. We pay too much attention to our freaking minds. The mind is not where it's at. Because if you rely on the mind, you're just going to recycle the past. You're recycling data. You didn't put that data there. They did. Remember, we have been born into a family system that's corrupt. We've been born into most religious systems are corrupt, because they teach us that we're not enough, that we have to die before we go meet God. Are you kidding me? You are God. Seriously, God is in you. God is in you. You cannot separate yourself from your spirit. Your spirit is the breath of God that lives through you. And any religion that has you thinking that you have to die and then you're going to meet your creator, you are a manifestation of creator. Life is living through you. You can't separate yourself from that. But okay, so we're born into, I hear myself going, shut up. Okay, so keep going. So we're born into a family system that's corrupt. We're born into religious systems that are corrupt. Hello, look at the society. Just observe society the way it works. Now listen, we need certain norms and certain rules so that we can maintain some type of order. Like, you got to stop at green lights. I mean, you got to stop at red lights. That makes sense. You know what I mean? So we need, unfortunately, it would be beautiful if everyone knew that they were enough, and that, we didn't have criminals out there that were attached to ideas that they were bad, or that they can't make an honest living, or if that they're flipping burgers, they're no good. These are the ideas that corrupt us, and that comes from judging one another. Imagine a world where, if everybody, there was no shame. So if you were the garbage man, or you were a truck driver, or you're a manicurist, or whatever, whatever you're doing in your life, imagine if everyone that you looked at was just honored you and said, good job, and imagine but in order to experience that type of world, you have to experience yourself that way. So if you have a negative idea or belief attached to the kind of, Alice is coming to say hello. If you have a negative idea attached to the kind of job that you do, then you have to understand, dear one, you will project that. You're going to project that out into the world, and you will match up with people who have similar vibrations. So let's say you're a secretary or you're a receptionist and you feel bad about that. Undoubtedly, you're going to attract, by the nature of the law of attraction, someone who thinks poorly of receptionists. And that's, so when you shift how you feel, when you go to work and you wear a flower in your hair, or you take your job really, really seriously and you want to be the best receptionist that company has ever seen, people will notice you, because we attract what we're feeling about ourselves. We attract that energy. Nothing can come to us if we're not a vibrational match for it. So if you literally live in your own world, in your own bubble, and you're like, I'm a badass receptionist, I do a damn good job. I smell good, I look good, my nails are pretty, my hair is done. When people come in, I'm attentive, I pay attention to them. I'm an excellent receptionist, and I'm going to do a really good job. I'm going to listen to the people that call. I'm going to forward the calls. I'm going to give my employer more than what they expect from me. I'm going to be the first person there and the last person to leave. I'm going to put my best foot forward. I'm going to radiate sunshine. You're going to have great days. As a matter of fact, you are going to probably be pushed up the ladder fairly quickly because of the way with the vibration that you're sitting in. And that's within our control. So in order to live that type of a life, you've got to be willing to step outside the mental chatter. Because the mental chatter, if you're attaching to the mental chatter, you are attaching to the past. You're attaching to the program. And the program is corrupt. So you're a hamster on the wheel. So what we have to learn to do in our society is learn to live heart first, above the mind. We have to learn to speak our truth from our heart before we speak the truth of the mind, because the mind's going to get you in trouble. So let's say you're confronting, a lot of you, God bless you, namaste, a lot of you confront narcissists in your life because you're codependents, right? So now you've attracted these narcissistic personalities, and you have to understand a narcissist is stuck in their paradigm, and their paradigm is corrupt. So you're not going to beat them at their game. You can't. It's impossible, because unless that person wants to shift. So you're wasting your time. If your agenda is to say, oh, this time, if I say it this way, maybe if I say it that way, maybe this. Study adult children of dysfunctional homes, and you will discover that thought process is a thought process of a 6-year-old. Maybe if I'm quiet at dinner, Daddy won't hit me. Maybe if I draw Mommy a picture of a flower, she'll smile at me. Maybe if I get an A on my homework or my test, maybe Mommy can see me. Maybe if I get up really early and leave early and get out of the house, maybe Mommy won't be so angry when I come home for dinner. Maybe if I don't tell Mommy that I don't like liver and onions, maybe she won't throw the plate against the wall like she does when she gets angry. Maybe if I buy Mommy a Valentine's Day gift, maybe she'll get out of bed. If you are stuck in a relationship with someone, and that's the kind of thought process you have going on, just know, dear one, that is the program. You're just recycling the tape. Different character, but same situation. Rooted in the idea that you're not enough. To live a healthy life, you have got to really, really embrace the idea that you are enough. That you are the sun. Figuratively, literally, you are the sun. You literally like the sun in the sky. You are light. You are electrified. You are electricity. If you don't believe me, study the SA node and the AV node of the heart. Study sodium and potassium and calcium and magnesium. You know, all these elements have charges, positive and negative and neutral charges, which speaks to the idea that we are electric circuits. When you are just of the mind, you screwed. Sorry, dear ones, until you wake up. Because the mind is a template. It's an electrified template. And think of your body as a walking electrical horde, really, that is, until it wakes up and begins to sidestep the mind or disintegrates the template that's there, you are plugged into that template, and that's not your fault. That's not your fault. You know, we're not told. You know, this is information that I have had to seek and piece together almost 20 years. But we're not told at birth you're enough. We're told you better be good enough, you better have blue eyes, you better not be a pain in the ass, and you're going to be a Catholic or a Jehovah's Witness, or you're going to be an Orthodox Jew, you know, and this is the way we do things, and you're going to cut your hair, and you're going to cover your face, and you're going to do... what is that? That's not why we're born. We're born to live love and light. We're born to live the light being that we are. But because of all these other systems that have been placed, it's a multi-dimensional universe. So because we have all these systems, and we're unaware of the systems because we can't touch them, you know what I mean? Like, we're affected by them vibrationally, and we get plugged into them, and our parents plug us into them. You know, it's plug and play, you know. But because we can't see them with our eyes, we don't appreciate how they impact us until you start living through the heart space. That's the game changer. And it's not, I'm going to say it, I found it very difficult. You know, I do think there's an easier way. I do think by just seeing it, understanding, okay, that's the long-term goal, is live through my heart space and allow my inner being to come through my throat chakra and allow my inner being to like manifest in this real world, and to allow other people to be who they are as well, to turn the cheek and walk away, to seek like-minded others, to let the dead bury the dead. There we go, good old Bible again. So when you understand long-term goal is to live through my heart space every day, to become this tremendous sun, and when I'm around my children, to just, no matter what they're saying, no matter what they're doing, just radiate love and light on them. Love and light, love and light, love and light, love and light. Validate them so that they can become beacons of light. And they can help anchor light bodies so that we can incarnate, so more and more fully activated light bodies can incarnate on this planet. That's what we can do as people, and that's what we can do as mothers and fathers, is help our children activate their light bodies. And the only way to do that is to activate our light body. You've got to turn the generator on. The generator is your heart. Now, that's your job. That's your divine job. That's your divine purpose. Now, you have to understand, and you have to accept. You don't have to like it, but you have to accept it. You have to, no more resistance. There are going to be people out there that say, it's too bright in here, shut your light off, you know? But you got to keep that light on. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. You got to keep it turned on. No matter what anybody says, you just keep walking towards your divine light. As you do that, what will happen is you will magnetically begin to resonate with like-minded others. If you rely on the mind and you are stuck in narcissistic, dysfunctional loop-like relationships, if you do not begin listening to your heart. What does my heart want? My heart wants peace. My heart wants contentment. My heart wants freedom. This relationship is very difficult. He or she is not willing to change. A leopard can change his or her spots if she's willing to see her spots or his spots. But if you're dealing with someone, and codependency is much easier to heal than narcissism. Codependents are in so much pain they are so other focused, and they're so drained, and they're not stuck in ego, so they're willing to say, oh, they're so used to saying it's me, it's my fault, that when a codependent hears the symbols, here's like a message like this one, or reads a book like one of mine, or anyone else, Ross Rosenberg's, whoever, Melody Beatty, Pia Melodies, whoever, Teal Swan. When a codependent reads something that resonates, it's so much easier for him or her to go, oh, I'm a part of this. I can see my spots. Because we are used to feeling like we're the problem. Now, someone who is narcissistic is self-oriented. They care more about how they feel opposed to how you feel. So they're not used to being the person who says, okay, I'm wrong. They're used to being the person who says, no, bitch, you're wrong. It's your fault. How could you say that? Like, what do you hear yourself? You're going to split up the family now? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, even if the whole family thinks you're nuts. Like, I love you. I beat the crap out of you, but I love you. It's out of love, Yeah, okay, so I put you down once in a while. It's because I don't want you to go outside and make a fool out of yourself. It's because I love you. It's because I love you. It's because I love you. Brainwashing. Planting seeds, confusing you. Now, if you rely on the mind, you're screwed. Dear ones, begin to rely on heart. So it looks like this. Let's say you're in a narcissistic relationship and you're getting into an argument. What I want you to remember, this is the how-to. What I want you to remember is, if it's hard, you're in resistance. And your job is to seek non-resistance. So everything's going to happen on the heart space. So you use the brain to your advantage. So your heart, you connect with how I'm feeling. So, I'm arguing. We're having another argument, same old argument. How do I feel? Remember, this is all inside your head. How do I feel? Ooh, this is difficult. Like, he doesn't hear a damn thing I'm saying. Oh my God, how does this feel? I feel suffocated. I feel stuck. I feel hurt. I feel sad. I feel angry. I feel totally defeated, disillusioned. I feel like he's just trying to scramble my mind so that I shut up. That's what I feel like. I don't like the way this feels. This feels hard. Okay. So, my goal is path of least resistance. What would feel better right now? Well, not arguing with him would feel better. I have nothing to prove. He's entitled to how he feels, even if it's effed up. He's entitled to how he feels. Okay. I'm just going to open up. I'm going to become love and light, and I'm going to accept that he is an ignoramus. I'm going to accept with love and light that this person, for whatever reason, because of his childhood programming, because his mother smothered him, whatever, I'm going to accept that he is just recycling the tape, and he cannot hear me, and he will not hear me, and he is self-focused, which means he has no idea what it's like to say, oh, I'm the problem. So I'm just going to shine light on this. I'm just going to allow him to be this person. Yep, there he goes, shooting his mouth off, huffing and puffing. Here he goes. Oh, okay, he's slamming his fist on the table. Okay, how do I feel about that? I don't like the way this feels. I'm not teaching my children to tolerate this crap. You know what? I'm done. Listen, Tom, I'm out of here. I'm going to take our kids to, our neighbor's house, and, call me when you calm down. Where are you going? Listen, you have a right to be pissed off. I'm not agreeing with you. That totally ticks you off. I get it. You obviously are irritated. So I'm just going to give you your space, and I'm going to take the kids, and I'm going to go next door. Don't you leave? Oh, yeah, I'm going to leave because I have a right to leave. See, I can accept your craziness, your out of controlness. I can accept it, and I can accept how I feel about how you feel. And I'm accepting that I don't like the way I feel. I'm accepting that I don't like the way you act. I'm accepting that when you act that way, I feel threatened. And so I'm going to act on that and let you be who. I'm not blaming you. I'm not saying that you're a bad guy. I'm just saying that I have a right to connect to how I feel when you act like this, when you say these things. And I'm going to respond to how I feel and how I feel is threatened right now, so I'm going to take the children next door. Good luck with that. When you calm down, you give me a call. We have to be taught how to do that. That is not easy for someone who has been taught that it's her job or it's his job to keep Papa Bear quiet. And so, dear ones, I really hope that this has helped you understand that, if you're suffering with addiction, if you're suffering with codependency, which is an addiction, to keeping other people happy so that you don't have to feel unwanted, in my opinion, and face that. But when you face it and you let messages like this resonate with your heart and you realize that you were always enough, then it's much easier to let go of the idea of that you need other people to approve of you. So you're going to have to really do some deep excavating, figure out what your belief systems are, because those are your spots. And you're going to have to change those spots. If you have been taught that God is outside of you, I would encourage you to explore that. I can't tell you what to think, and I would never tell you how to feel. I'm just expressing what I think and what I feel, and you're entitled to how you think and you feel. I'm not threatened by it because I have nothing to prove. This works for me. I don't believe that I'm separate from God. I don't believe an animal is separate from God. I love animals. They're an expression of God. I don't believe flowers are separate from God. I think flowers are an expression of love, life, and Creator. And so, dear ones, I hope this has helped you. Please let me know. I have 2 more seats left for my workshop in November. So it's a 2-hour workshop. It's a 1-hour Q&A, and we're going to have breakfast with me. That's our check-in. And we'll do our registration. We'll have a continental breakfast and get to the workshop, maybe sign a couple of books, take some pictures, get the workshop done, have a coffee break, and then a Q&A, which I'm really looking forward to. So, it's about us becoming love and light and finding ways to share that love and light with others in our own unique way, and this is the way I do it. So if you breed finches, breed finches. If you raise dogs, raise dogs. If you collect garbage, collect garbage. Do it, whatever floats your boat, dear one. Do it with integrity, do it with honor, and as long as you're not hurting anyone else and you're not hurting yourself, then it's good. Walk in love and light, dear one. Serve the light that is within you, and you'll be just fine. Namaste.